Very good afternoon to you, and it's a brand new week. Welcome back from your holidays, and it's good to be here once again. Thank you for keeping a date. It's Tuesday, the 10th of June 2025. We go again. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. It's been a long one, 4 days, almost looking like 4 weeks of absence. But you know what? I was digging in, doing my research, and of course, a lot of market developments going on. It's good to be here. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Appreciate your presence and, of course, your determination to make money for yourselves. If you can hear me, please kindly indicate yes, 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 yes. Congratulations to everyone who is doing well. I see your first bank stock is jumping right now. I see even so many movements in Vitafoam. I'm seeing a lot of our stocks doing well and a lot of developments going on that I would like to inform you about. Thank you very much for your responses. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see you there, Maovi. Top of the day to you also, and all other members of this wonderful community. The participation, the determination, the discipline you have shown is the reason why I will never relent in doing what we like to do best and taking full advantage. Mr. D. Abba is already asking a question there. He says, Coach, Vitafoam is making the difference. Okay, it's really not a question. What did I miss? I've been away. Hello, Coach. That's Beauty Finds Shop. Oh, everything green, right? Interesting stuff. Well, you do some catch ups and don't forget most of the sessions you might have missed. They are all uploaded in the YouTube channel, and we hope that you can be able to do some catch ups. But feel free, all the stocks that we spoke about are doing well now, and particularly your Owando is now at 59 naira per share before I came on live here. And it's interesting to know that the plan regarding that particular stock is going according to what we have projected for you, talking about Beauty Finds Shop, if you remember. Okay, thank you very much. I see we're already lively and bubbly. Please don't forget, we normally power tap the screens, making sure that we keep liking from the first whistle all the way till the end. And we have particularly today about 1 hour 55 minutes. That's a lot of time to take your questions. Thank you very much, Bolima. I see you there with the roses. Really, really appreciate you, and it's good to catch up with you. Coach, which stocks are we looking to buy and invest in this week, starting today? KC for real is asking on Instagram. Well. I told you about a particular stock called Fitz. It's in the healthcare industry. And while I was still taking my time to look around it before I could mention, it had moved from 27 naira to 30 and then to 31. This morning, it's still making some serious movements, and it's looking like the best entry price is no longer going to be 27, but about 30 perhaps. In any case, at the moment, it's taking a leap, and you never know what happens, especially knowing that attention is really seriously shifting towards it at the moment. Let's see what's happening with Fitz. Quick one there so you can know the stocks I'm watching. It's already at 32. I am thinking it has made some very serious moves, but you are seeing bids at 2.8 million bids with 32 naira per share bids, more than 145,000 shares, and only 1 million offers. So more attention is building up towards Fitz. The fundamentals are very good. The only problem I had with Fitz is that it has some serious debts. In any case, that is always easy to take care of for a well-managed company. Otherwise, all indices looks great. Let me take a look at a few things about Fitz for you here. Let's see, just a moment. Fitz, right? So if you are just tuning in, we're talking about stocks to look out for this week and probably take position in. The interesting thing about Fitz that I like particularly is that despite having a market capitalization of 72.9 billion naira, their revenue is much more than their market capitalization. Well, for those who are just joining and may not understand, market capitalization is all about the current market price times the total number of shares in circulation. So when you take a look at that, that tells you how much the market currently values a particular company. So market cap 72 billion, but guess what? The revenue for 2024 is over 100 billion. That's how powerful Feedsin is. Though the net income is just 7.99 billion, which means a net margin of about 7 or let's say approximately 8%, which is not too wonderful. But when you check what the shares outstanding is, it now makes sense because they have very few shares, just 2.2 billion shares. And when you translate the net profit after tax into the shares outstanding, you have an earnings per share of 3 naira 49 kobo. So what you are buying currently at 31 or 32 naira per share will fetch you 3 naira 49 kobo earnings per share at the moment, and that gives us a price earnings ratio of 9.12 times, which is not bad at all. Now, this is the caveat here. The fact that it has moved from 27 naira to 32 this morning does not mean that you should rush in, because I'm seeing the RSI at 95. That's quite high. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about RSI. RSI simply means um, um, the trailing index, RSI 95, and it's looking like if you have an RSI of 30, it tells you that the stock is oversold. Any RSI you see that is less than 30, it says the stock is oversold. But when you see an RSI around more than 70, then it is overbought. So as we speak, RSI for Fitz is looking overbought because it's approaching 100 already. Yes, and if that is the case, then there is a problem. It means shortly you will see a lot of supplies in the market. RSI for Fitz, talking about the relative strength index for Fitz, currently stands at 95, very close to 100. That's where the caveat is, and that's why you shouldn't jump into it yet. There is serious value in it, but at the moment, it's looking overbought. Very soon, a lot of people will eventually rush into it and get them sold. So expect the price to drop towards around 30, or if the supply is so much, then 28, 27. May not get down to 27, but that could be a very good price to buy. So from around 30, you can place a bid, or you wait and see what happens with this stock. The interesting thing about it also is that their dividend payment will be next month. So there's something in it, considering the fact that the last dividend they paid was 1 naira per share, which is good. All right, so that's about that. Now let's go on straight to the screens and see what the top gainers for the day are doing. We're talking about the top 10 gainers for the day. And credit to Stock Bubbles, who supplies us that information on a daily basis. Hopefully, they are up and doing. Yes, they are. Guess what? Number one on the list, 10% gain today is Beja Paints. Remember, we spoke about Beja Paints some time ago. Beja Paints was selling at 17 naira per share then, currently at 22 naira 55 kobo, maximum 10% gain already. Then we go on to Dark Communications, second on the list, 66 kobo at the moment, maximum 10% gained. Legend Internet, after losing terribly last week, is gaining 9.93% now, currently 5 naira 87 kobo. Number 4, we have Vitafoam, 8% gain today, 64 naira 80 kobo. Now, this reminds me of what I told you last week. Was it last week? Remember, my entry price for Vitafoam was 23 naira, and then I watched it rise to 50 and then to 55, and I decided to buy more. I told you about it when I bought more Vitafoam. Well, even from that 55, it is now 64.80, and I remember so many people asked about what to buy, and I kept saying, go ahead, buy Vitafoam. Well, there you go. Vitafoam is still flying. And it will interest you to note that because, and this is where sometimes averaging up is also good, especially when you find a good stock to buy. Maybe when you started buying it, it wasn't, you didn't buy enough, and then you realize the stock is doing very well right now and it's making more progress. You may want to actually average up. It's not a taboo to average up on a very good stock when you make up your mind. And let me explain. And I give you this instance regarding Vitafoam, because Vitafoam, having bought at 23.24, it eventually got to 55. Though difficult to buy more, I decided to do so. Eventually, after buying more at 55, my average entry price increased, because that's what averaging up does when you buy higher than you initially bought. So my current average entry price is now 38 naira per share. So even if it was averaged up, the price also moved after I bought to now 60 something. Now I am better off because I have sufficient quantity of Vitafoam to myself at a very comfortable price, averaging 38 naira per share, considering the stock now is at 64 or something like that. So this is where you need to take advantage of things like this. Some people might have bought a stock like Tick earlier and may wish that they average up. Well, should Tick never go down below 6, then it makes sense to average up, knowing fully well that there is a great future ahead for you, right? Okay, Boluma Olusayero says, I made some investments in Discovery Fund in 2005. How do I go about getting my dividend? Now, Discovery Fund should be managed by ARM, if I'm not mistaken, because that was many years ago, and that was when ARM was a subsidiary of GT Bank. But it looks like currently ARM is being managed, has been taken over by Access. So it's now Access ARM. Boluma, if I'm correct, if it's ARM's Discovery Fund you invested in, then you may want to walk into any branch of Access ARM and let them know about this. Since it's not in the stock market, it's not possible for a stockbroker to help you claim it unless they have any affiliation to do with ARM. Well, funds are managed differently from stocks, so there's no way a broker can just barge in. My expert advice is for you to approach, just Google search any branch of ARM and Access ARM. That's what they are called right now. And then you can be able to go in there and get it sorted. It's not lost, can be lost. They should be able to let you know what the status of your investment portfolio is. And if you like, if you are happy with your returns and you feel like you want to divest from that investment, you go ahead and liquidate. So I think that can be sorted. Yes? All right. So on, as we continue on the top gainers list, we have Abe Building Society number 5, 7.53% gain, 6 naira per share. FTN Cocoa is at number 6, 2 naira 56 kobo currently, gaining 6.67%. UBA, who would have imagined that UBA will get up to 38 so quickly? Well, there you go. UBA now 38 naira per share, 5.56% gain. Omatech 77 kobo per share, 5.48% gain. Owando is at number 9, 559 naira 50 kobo, 4.66% gain. And then C&I Leasing is the 10th top gainer for the day at 4 naira 80 kobo, gaining 4.58%. All right. So that's about the top gainers list. More news in the market, but before I go on, let me respond to more of your questions. OJ says, I bought UBA today as well. Really? How much did you buy? Because as we speak, UBA is on the top gainers list and continues to make progress. Meanwhile, I don't know if somebody from here connected is already buying Fitz. It's gone up to 33 naira 90 kobo, almost 34 naira. But let's see what's happening with UBA at the premium board, 38 naira 10 kobo. After Tony Elumelu bought billions of naira worth of stocks last week, here we are talking about UBA. He continues to fly. Remember, he bought at around 34, between 34 and 35. It's 38 now. So every 1 naira gain means billions of naira regarding how much per share is recorded based on what he just bought. Thank you, everyone. And I really want to celebrate anyone who is really making progress here, following the tips I have been giving. Because as I turned on the screen now, I can see that Zenith Bank is at 51 naira 20 kobo. Many people here were advised to buy at 46 and 47. It's not been long, and there you go. Oh, you mean it, OJ? You bought UBA at 34. I doubt if that was possible. 34 today. It hasn't traded at 34 at all. Yesterday's closing price was 36. It's currently at 38. Maybe not today. I wouldn't know. But thank you very much. Okay, Success Mindset bought 36.95 today. That was a quick one because what we have here now is UBA at 38.10. And let's take a look at the bid and offer analysis. 14 million shares bidded for versus 7 million. UBA is usually known to be in great supply, but what do we have? It's now more than double in terms of the demand versus supply, and that means the price will keep going up. By the way, there are about almost 1 million shares bidded for at 38 and upwards. So congratulations, Success Mindset. You got in at a very good price. OJ says 36. My bad, I committed. All right. I can see it's obviously a typo perhaps, but that was a fantastic entry considering the demand for UBA this morning. I need 5 penny stocks to quickly invest 700K. Jude Moore. Jude Moore, please update us on your progress regarding your unclaimed dividends for those stocks you invested in since 2007 or 8 or something like that. Please do well to follow up because we will be excited to hear that all that is due you has been paid to you. That money belongs to you and nobody else should have it. UVA is good. I entered when I saw Tony Elumelu as chairman of the board. He bought at 34.60. I got 34.40. Let's see how it goes. Akudo Onido is now speaking like an expert. You see, do what the rich do, and you will get the results of the rich. The rich invest, the middle class save, the poor spend. We over here continue to do those things that the rich do, and nothing can stop us from getting the results of the rich. You see, she even outsmarted Tony Elumelu. He bought at 34.60, she bought at 34.40. That was how the MD of Fidelity bought Fidelity Bank shares over 380 million naira worth at 20 naira 45 kobo. And then when the news about the court judgment passed in their disfavor to the market, Fidelity dropped to about 17.20. Most of us here scooped some reasonable quantity at that price while it lasted. Well, what do we have today? Fidelity is trying to touch 20 again. So you can actually use news from the market to your own advantage. Daniel says, Coach, please, I have 100K. What stock can I buy with it? With 100K, I will assume you go in for a penny stock that has good prospects. And so I will advise somewhere around maybe Qtix or um, Qtix or hold on, let me take a good look. Um, just a moment, still checking. Okay, I think Qtix is looking much more reasonable. Otherwise, you could go ahead and take position in TIP, 2.6 million bids versus 717,000 offers. So between Qtix and TIP, you could take position with 100K, right? Coach, thank you for all you do. Please, what app can I use to buy stocks and get updates on them? Boluma, apps will deceive you and still take too much money from you. So I would advise that you send me a DM. I'll forward the link to open your account with Atlas Portfolios so you can get real-time data without confusion. Most of what we experience from what app users see is that they get previous days prices and mistakenly bid at those prices, even if they could have, bidden lower and gotten better results and better bargains. So a whole lot of hitches here and there also regarding apps. You don't want to make mistakes, but most importantly, you will be paying double transaction fees. This is what people who make these videos on social media do not really say, perhaps because they do not know. Most of the apps that are on licensed brokers actually need to collaborate with licensed brokers. And when that happens, they charge you for using their app. The brokers also charge you the regular fee. So instead of being double charged, why not register directly with a broker and then do your thing and pay commission once and for all? Because we're in this business to make money. So by all means, we help you to save as much money as you can in the process. So how do we buy after registering with Atlas? OJ, well, the user guide video is on my YouTube channel. You can go through it to see how to navigate your way through the platform. Most importantly, also, if that video is too long for you, something straightforward and more direct, I did two other 15-minute each videos talking about using Morgan Capital platform. They use very similar interfaces. Now, you can use your handheld devices, including your phones, your palm top, your laptop, and what have you, to trade using their web portal. The difference is that the web portal gives you much more real-time data to be able to make your investment decisions and transact. Smiles Adebe says, what can you say about Ikeja Hotel and Fitz? I have said a lot about Fitz already in the opening session of in the opening minutes of today's session. So maybe you want to replay the video after it is uploaded on YouTube. All right. As for Ikeja Hotel, well managed, the only challenge they always have is the poor dividend they pay. In any case, anything can happen and that could change. But what's the situation with the current price of Ikeja Hotel now? Maybe we want to check and see. Just a moment. Let me be able to check. Well, Ikeja Hotel is at 1320 with more offers as usual, 3.7 million offers. I think for Ikeja Hotel, you could get a great bargain at around 11 if possible, because I'm seeing so much supply. 3 million shares on offer versus 500,000 plus. So a good chance, but you have to have a lot of patience if you want to go with Ikeja Hotel. I currently use AfroInvest, and what you said about not giving real-time data is so true. OJ, I've heard several complaints about from AfroInvest users, and it's really sad that they have still not improved on their service. Now, they are actually a licensed broking firm and decided to create an app, right? But I have come to see a trend with apps, even if they are from licensed brokers, meaning you are only charged transaction fees once on those platforms. Platforms like AfroInvest trading platform, also Meristem's trading platform, they use apps. The problem and predominant problem remains delayed data transmission, and I can't deal with that. It's what used to happen when we were even in the manual days of investing in the stock market 27 years back, and I can't cope with such because most of them you will send your request for either buying or selling mandate, and then you have to start waiting until whenever. It doesn't. The market has no time to waste. Okay, so if they are not supplying me real-time data, I just move. Good day, sir. I have 500K. What stocks should I buy for the long term? If you are looking at long-term stocks, before our very eyes, Dangote Sugar is flying already at 40 naira per share. I remember most people must have bought, even when it dropped to 33 around April. Well, um, uh, that's not to say you should spend your 500K on Dangote sugar at the moment, but I think UACN, put that money in UACN and stay patient on that stock. I believe it's still possible to buy that stock at 33, but currently at 34, the bid and offer is about the same 1.4 million offers versus 1.5 million bids. So there is a chance, even though there are bids at 34, USCN is a good buy at the moment. Coach, please talk about Ella Lakes. I don't know how many times I need to keep talking about Ella Lakes, as I have said several times before. Ella Lakes is there waiting for confirmation of their performance. We want results. I know I spoke about Ella Lakes in the last meeting that we had last week, Thursday. Let me draw out one or two information about Ella Lakes once again, because you asked and we are quite early in terms of time today. Ella Lakes, these are the updates. And listen very attentively. Remember, I mentioned Fitz having turnover that is much larger than the market capitalization. Well, market capitalization for Ella Lakes is 13 billion naira. Then revenue is 88 million. So what you are buying for 3 naira now, they are only generating 88 million naira as we speak as total annual turnover. That's because though Ella Lakes has been an old company which was strictly into fisheries, that's the founder's dream. It was actually founded even in River State, I think somewhere around Ahoda area in River State. Then it was natural fish ponds, you know, and then they got listed. But along the line, Sir Ella is dead and gone. The company went into all sorts of struggles to survive. There is a new injection of funds and fresh hands who have decided to diversify the business. Still staying in agriculture, they are now also diversifying into cassava plantation, rice plantation, and piggery. Then there's also a talk about palm plantation. The point is wonderful. And Greek sells, especially if you know what you are doing. The question now is what are they bringing from the business in terms of turnover? What has sold? What is selling? What's the prospect like? So all we have for Ella Lakes is a great prospect that people have keyed into, and that's why the price continues to hover around 3 naira 20, 3 naira 50. It doesn't go higher than that. In the end, what happens is until they start seeing tangible results, they may not be able to buy it much more than it is at the moment. But if you have patience and you have hope that this business will succeed in the future, then you can go ahead with LLX. For me, I am not buying LLX, as fantastic as the business idea is and the prospects looks. I want to start seeing results. Okay. Um, it's Kaka says it's echoing. All right. Maybe I should change strategy to continue. Not a problem. Thank you for that feedback. We'll see how it goes. I hope it's better now. If I
Tell me if it's better. Is it better now? Hopefully it is, right? Now, like I said, market capitalization 13 billion, revenue 88 million. But guess what the net income is? Net income for Ella Lakes, we are talking about negative 961 million. So Ella Lakes is recording losses of up to nearly 1 billion. 1 billion naira loss. That's the situation with Ella Lakes at the moment. So be sure what you are doing. So that brings earnings per share into loss per share of 34 kobo per share. And they have so many shares at the moment, 3.8 billion shares. That's all I can say about Ella Lakes. Thank you very much. Please, Coach, what stock with good or that has jumped? Coach, you are audibly very clear now. Thank you for the adjustment. Thank you, Prowess. Coach, talk about Presco, please. I bought today, please. OJ, Presco is trying to make another move above 1,000 naira per share. Let's see what's happening with it at the moment. Presco, on Friday, Presco closed at about 940 naira per share, but today it's trading at 980 naira per share, and with 1.9 million shares bidded for versus 364,000 shares. Those of you who bought Presco at 450 naira or so, I remember when we were buying that time, Presco was on full offer. Nobody was interested in buying. Presco was just on full offer and continued that way. But guess what? Now, suddenly there's so much supply, 1.5 million shares versus 300,000 on offer. Yeah, I saw the Fidelity MD stuff too. I entered as well. It dipped due to the negative news and I got more to average downwards. Following your tips, Coach. Great moves, Akudo there. Nice one. Coach, among the 4 stocks, select the 2 best for me, CWG, Fitz, USCN, and TIP. I'm going to select simply based on the fact that the entry price is right. And if you ask me, I'd go with USCN on that list, and maybe because there's still some momentum that will be coming in Fitzin, then Fitzin. So USCN and Fitzin. For the other 2, TIP and CWG, you could still buy them after now. These are the decisions. There is how high Fitzin and USCN might jump. You may not be able to buy easily. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. D. Abba. Coach, I keep getting error after submitting my registration for Atlas portfolios. This has been happening since Thursday. Email Atlas, please, on that so they can rectify it. Hi, Coach. What price do you recommend for TIP? Well, TIP has stubbornly refused to drop below 6 naira, and it's looking good. Trying to still consolidate and create a solid support level above 6. Well, if you ask me, maybe 620 is a very good price. Without having to think you are paying too much at the moment. Sir, I want to hear your view about Japol Gold. I thought I've shared my view about Japol Gold here. Sometimes I advise you, please, after the day's session, always find a way to go on the YouTube channel. It's free. Go there, subscribe, listen up, especially during these holidays that was very long. During weekends, go onto my YouTube channel there, play those sessions. After today's session will be uploaded, so you don't keep asking repeated questions. Okay? You were asking about Japan Gold. Japan Gold still falls under the same category as Ella Lakes. We just have hope. Before now, Japan Gold was in the maritime industry. Eventually, Japan Gold, the reason why you have gold in their name is because they now claim to be involved in solid mineral mining, and we hear they have a gold mine somewhere in the west. Well, I do not believe in hearsays, so I want results. In any case, Japan Gold eventually started making turnovers, and it's looking like they have turned profitable. From what I see, revenue 4.6 billion, though market capitalization 28 billion, which is not bad. I like you to understand that revenue must not even be higher or equal to what the market cap is. I was giving the instance of Fitz where market cap was lower than revenue to show you how productive that company is and how maybe not fully well valued by the market it was. So that's something of an imbalance that over time the market eventually corrects. Okay? Net income for Japan 1 billion, shares outstanding 14 billion, and then PE ratio 16.71 times. So that's about Japan. Not much to say, maybe little dividend here and there or something like that, but in the end, I want tangible results. Okay, Japan is getting out of that lack of productivity period, and that's because there were some foreign investors who put in about $20 million or something like that, was it $20 million or so, to take, it was a private placement, and so they have some working capital to work with, and let's see what happens. They will still need time also. So usually, when you ask me questions like this, you will notice that I have not recommended any of these stocks because I want to look for results, so that even if a stock is recommended and the price drops for any reason whatsoever, you know that the fundamentals are good. It could just be market irrationality, and that means buy more, okay? And then you'll be better off. All right, Coach, you mentioned CRCL on X. It never stops going up. Amazing. Oh, really? That's from Michael, CRCL. Okay. I've forgotten how much it was when I mentioned it, but this is what you can benefit if you pay close attention to what we are doing here. And thank you for reminding me about that. CRCL has a very healthy financials, right? I'm seeing it. Very healthy financials, looking good, and will continue to go higher. I wonder how much it was when I mentioned it, but it's currently at $115 per share. It gained $7 yesterday, which is 7%. By the way, in pre-market, it's $118, gaining more than $3 again. So it looks like it continues to go up. I may need to go back and replay our live sessions to see what I said about CRCL. That's Circle Internet Group. It's actually in the U.S. market, not in the Nigerian market, so that we don't get confused. Remember, we discussed both foreign and Nigerian stocks. Louis Salgay says, MTN seems to be doing well. I can't believe I bought at 187. Louisa, congratulations. You can see MTN is over 300 Naira per share. I saw it even this morning, continues to climb. Let's see how much it is. 320 Naira per share. at the moment, 7 million shares. Who would have thought that a stock as expensive in the range of 300 naira plus can have up to 7 million bids? Well, that's the case with MTN right now, with just 915,000 offers on the table. So more upward movement for MTN, if you ask me, and congratulations to you, Louisa, for making it happen. I remember, I think you bought when MTN was still neglected for lack of dividend payment for 2024. Maybe you bought at around 2024 November or so, if I'm not mistaken, right? I am guessing you bought your MTN around November, December. Well, congratulations, you are doing well. As it is, you've been patient, you've held on, and I'm sure there was a time after you bought at 187 that it even dropped, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember the lowest it dropped to was around 168 or so, you know. So this is what you get when you find and identify good companies. Sometimes they are in their bad days. Sometimes that's the best time to buy. At that point, you don't need too much of expertise. You know, as long as you have the patience and you know the company cannot go out of business. MTN can't go out of business, all right? Because the Nigerian market is so huge, data analysis, data usage and voice calls is so much. I remember analyzing MTN many years, maybe say 2 years or 3 years ago, and they were making as much as 1 billion naira on data revenue alone, data. And data usage continues to grow. Beyond just providing data services in offices, most homes now rely heavily on data usage. And it just continues like that. Yes? So it can only get better for MTN. I'm trying to check now what their data revenue was for 2024. Time will not permit me to do that. I would have shown you how much they are making so that you get encouraged. If you are an MTN user and you've just been funding both voice and data and they are making money, you should also be a part of that money they are making. And that can only happen if you are also a stockbroker, a shareholder, okay? Coach, I just set a buy limit on USCN at 33. Do you think it will hit? It's possible, Clinton. It's very possible. Good day, Coach. Please, should I sell my Transcorp Power and buy some other stocks? Stanley, Ugu. Sometimes you need to be patient to do that, but at the moment, it's difficult to sell Transcorp Power because it's always on full offer. Let's see what the situation is with Transcorp Power at the moment. Transcorp Power currently 295 naira 70 kobo per share. As you can see, 9.6 million shares on offer, zero bid. So it becomes difficult. You can put in an offer for sale, and it should be at 295.7. That's the least price it can sell for. Well, as we speak, there are too many offers already in the market. That's the problem when you have a stock that sometimes is on full, always on full offer. Difficult to sell. Please, Coach, Dank's losses is massive. Real guy. What do you mean, Dank's losses? What losses? Is it their financial statement you are talking about? I'll fetch it for you so we can go through together. Dangote Cement. I wonder what losses you're talking about because they are about to pay dividends which they declared from their previous year's performance. So just let me know what losses you mean. Is it losses in terms of how much you bought per share and what the stock price is right now? Just let me know. But for me, I'm looking at the financials. It's now 420 naira per share. Market capitalization 7.5 trillion naira. Revenue 3.76 trillion. Dangote Cement, one of the few companies that generates revenue in trillions of naira. 3.76 trillion naira revenue generated 2024. Net income of about 592 billion. Shares outstanding 16.75 billion. Earnings per share is 35 naira 35 kobo. And they are paying at about 30, they are paying 30 naira per share as dividend. Yes? By next month, they will be paying that dividend. Louisa Oge says, you are right, November, December. Oh, exactly. Coach, what are we doing with Guinness? Are we holding or selling? Atlas recommendation said to sell. Ha ha ha. Now let me tell you something about recommendations by brokers. You know, you have your own game plan, you have your own investment goal, and you have your own criteria for picking your stocks. Now, if you go ahead and start listening to recommendations left, right, and center, you get confused and lose out completely. They might be advising to sell based on if you bought at 75 naira per share and it's now 90 naira or 92 naira based on short-term or medium-term trading. But you, who has it, what was your plan? Was it for long-term or short-term? If it is for short-term, then the recommendation is okay. But if you bought that you were going to hold for long-term and enjoy the benefits of whatever capital gains they are about to experience, then that recommendation is not for you. And this is why we advise people, have your own strategy, stick to your own game plan. And then if you are taking an advice, at least let whoever is advising you understand what your original intent for that stock is. Sometimes you can also decide to change your mind. Let's say you find a better opportunity in the market and you want to capitalize on, you can sell what you intended to hold for long term and buy whatever you want to buy. But at that point, you are making a decision purely based on the fact that it is backing your original plan, right? So you need to be sure of these things. For instance, while Atlas is advising sell Guinness, some other house may be saying buy or accumulate or hold, you know. So it's up to you to determine what exactly you want to achieve. For me, and for everybody else who I have been coaching and mentoring, that I advise to buy Guinness, it's a long-term hold because 90 naira from 70-something naira is not what you are buying Guinness for the long term for. We are talking about 100 naira and 150 naira 1 year from now. That's what we're looking at. And that's when the money really flows because they are just getting out of a very bad experience of foreign exchange losses hitting all the brewery sector. And now that the brewery sector is breathing a new fresh air, you know, of profit making, it's not when you should sell. Now, unless maybe you hear that Dangote Sugar Refinery is about to be listed and you have no other stock to sell but that one. But mind you, it's always difficult to also get these stocks when they come during their IPOs or what have you. Coach, is it possible to buy NIDF at 112 today? Baba Gift, everything in the market is possible. It all depends on who is offering. Should there be a desperate seller in the market, you can buy at 112. If not today, some other time. Right? Is Nigerian Breweries an alternative to Guinness? Dr. Abisoye Ajayi, maybe not. But they are all experiencing the same kind of revival after a very bad 2024. And it's showing already in their books that things are getting better. Guinness is more valuable than Nigerian breweries, for sure. And then Nigerian breweries has some debt profile that I would not comfortably suggest. Nigerian breweries has also recorded a greater turnaround than Guinness in terms of capital gains yet. So what I will advise is, rather than go, if you are thinking between Nigerian breweries and Guinness, I would say go with Guinness, especially for the long term. Because Nigerian breweries, when it dropped to around 32 naira or so, 32, 36 naira. That was how low it got. If at all it didn't drop below 30, eventually I think it dropped to up to 26 or so. But here we are, 50 something naira now. That's much more turnover already recorded in terms of capital gains. But Guinness, I think it dropped to as low as 50 something before it is now rising to around 90 or something like that. So because of the heavy debts that still needs to be taken care of with Nigerian breweries, that's where my worry is. So if I am to choose between both, I would go with I will go with Guinness. But good afternoon, sir. Please check your questions box up. Okay, coach, can I sell my Abbey mortgage to buy another stock? Why not, if you are happy with what you have got? Is MTN still a buy? Dr. Abisoye Ajayi. I would rather suggest that you wait for a pullback for MTN. Let's see, MTN. Trying to look for what the RSI is saying regarding MTN right now. Just a moment. Be with you shortly. All right. RSI 85.38. That's above 70. And when the RSI is above 70, it's overbought, meaning there's a chance for it to dip. Will it dip below 300? It's possible as well. But who knows? It can just keep going. In any case, if we want to rely on the relative strength index, then you may want to wait a bit. Okay, Atlas Portfolios has just come in to say there are terms and conditions considering your entry price. Do you get that? So you should follow recommendations based on, I think you should read thoroughly those recommendations, because they might have recommended a buy at some point, and if they are recommending a sell now, it's because they're coming from somewhere, all right? Okay, thank you very much. Atlas is in the house, and they have just added their voice to this. So you don't mistake it to mean that they are wrong when you go in and buy and then it drops. Please keep tapping on your screen also. Thank you. That's from Success Mindset. Thank you, Success. Okay, Michael, yes, CRCL, during their IPO, it was $31 per share, now 112. 100 and, how much again? 115. And it keeps going up. But it's dangerous now, so nobody should go close to CRCL in the U.S. market. Coach, I just set a buy limit. Okay, I think most of these questions are coming back downwards. Coach, what's your thoughts about consolidated hallmark at 3 naira? Well, if you stay patient enough, you can buy it less than 3 naira. It always finds a way to dip below 3 and then gets, so it's fighting that resistance at 3. It is at that stage. It's the same stage that UPDC is. It's struggling with trying to stay above 3. Every time it manages to establish some level of comfort above 3, it gets knocked down back to 280 or 290. So, but it's normal. What we are seeing there is normal. So instead of buying at 3, place a bid under 3, say 285. There is a likelihood that you'll be sold to, and then you stay there long enough for it to bounce back to 3 and stay above 3. Right? Okay, please, coach, what stock is with good fundamentals for capital gains, can I put 3 million? Dang Sugar is at 40 now. Omoni Bright. Well, USCN at 33. Now it's difficult for me to keep mentioning this stock, Dangote, Vitafoam. Vitafoam is above 60 already. I kept singing about Vitafoam from 25. So we can't go back there. I feel that doesn't mean it may not go higher than that, but may take much more time. So you want to give it some time. I hear also, ladies and gentlemen, that NACO is receiving attention, and this time, serious money is going into NACO. Let's see how much it is and how much has been sold. Okay, today 395,000 NACO has been sold. I have it on good authority that NACO is receiving institutional investors' attention. NACO is receiving institutional investors' attention, and it is looking like NACO may eventually gather more steam, okay? Coach, what price can I get Fidelity today? Because it's rising under 19. Under 19? I don't understand what you mean by under 19. Okay, the price you want to buy Fidelity, let's see what's happening with it at the moment. As long as it's not yet 20, it's not a bad buy. 1975, oh my goodness. Well, it still has 33 million shares being bidded for, being offered, versus 16.88 million shares bidded for. It's looking increasingly very difficult now, I can tell you. Oh my goodness. Okay. Can I tell you the honest truth right now? It is going to be very difficult to buy under 19. As we speak, 12 million shares out of the 16 million shares being bidded for Fidelity Bank are 19 naira and above. At 19 naira and above. 12.4 million shares being bidded for out of 16 million total bids are at 19 and above. That is to say, you can't buy Fidelity at less than 19. So what do? Find a way to place a bid at around 19.15. But I think 19.20 is a safer bid, because if you bid at 19.20, it means they get to sell to 4 million bids before it gets to your turn, which is possible. So it's better to be safe, because as you see GT Bank, as you see Zenith, as you see Stanbic rising, and UBA following, with Access rising, the next bank to move is Fidelity. So sometimes these things happen. When you expect them to drop below a particular level, they just don't. Considering how much pressure, sell pressure there was most recently. Coach, I just set a buy limit on USCN at 3. Okay, I've responded to that. Coach, what price can I get Fidelity today? Because it's rising under 19, seems hard. Lily wants, it's difficult right now. It's looking very difficult. So place a bid at 19.20. Oh, Fiki, thank you very much. You sent gifts. This is TikTok telling me this is your first ever gift sent. Really appreciate you there. Thank you all my gifters. Keep power tapping your screens, keep giving gifts. What you are doing is you get more people joining us for the first time. What's your take on Chelarams? I haven't done sufficient research on Chelarams, but just a moment, let me see if I can try something out. Chelarams, right? A quick one there. Chelarams is a loss-making company, even though they are generating 23 billion naira, which is far more than the 6.8 billion market cap. Net income is actually a loss of 182 million. So whatever is fueling Chelaram's rise could just be something behind the scene. And when you are not sure what it is, it's better you stay off. There are so many stocks where you can make money. The important thing is know what you are doing. And Warren Buffett, the greatest investor of our time, always will say, risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. So it is when you invest because the stock price is rising and you have no idea why, then you are almost like someone who is blindfolded and pushed to go to the main road. Okay, Louisa Oge has her own 10 cent, or is it 2 cents, advice here. If you are investing for long term, buy at the price you see to avoid had I known. A lot of times, some people also do not find it easy coping with buying at the price they see and then watching the stock price drop. So different strokes for different folks, I guess. Sir, what do you think about NVAX? Well, I remember mentioning NVAX at 599 or something like that. It went to 7. Let's see how much NVAX is at the moment and see if there is room. There is actually a lot of room for NVAX. I can tell you that it's still just a matter of time. Currently 741. There's still room for NVAX. 741, you just have to wait a bit more or buy under 7. Okay? Coach, is UPDC a good buy now and is it for the long term? Clinton, long term under 3 naira. So say 280, 290. It's a good buy. Yeah, there's a possible upward gains for NACO because particularly, when we say institutional investors, we're not just saying foreign portfolio investors, no, because those ones, they actually buy and then when there's any little threat around the world economy or world markets, they jump out. This is particularly pension fund administrators. And you know, pension funds administrators have the highest number of volume of institutional investments when it comes to the stock market. They are the ones who buys and stays. And when they hold a stock, they first limit the number of shares in circulation. And then that causes more scarcity for that stock, having seen the regular cash flow that comes with it. That's something that eventually will also happen to a stock like NIDF. As long as they stay consistent, when they get the attention of these PFAs, it becomes something else. So for us, we have taken early positions in such stocks. Lush Vibes with UI says, hello coach, this is my first time in investment. Oh really? Interesting stuff. So where are you on your journey? Are you just starting? Because in this community, we always advise that starters carry on with getting more knowledge. Always be a part of this live session. Go onto the YouTube channel, get some beginner guide videos, go through them. Follow me on Instagram, send me a DM on the link to join our Network Investors Club. We are on Discord group, and then also link to open your brokerage account if you like. Then we will go ahead and continue to meet here 12 noon to 2 p.m. You will get the quickest start. So your journey, while you are trying to understand, you are still trying to also make money already under guidance. Coach, is Dangote and NACO a good buy this period? Dangote and NACO. Well, I've just told you Dangote, what Dangote? Because we have Dangote Cement, Dangote Sugar, and NASCON. They are all Dangotes. If you are not following me, you are losing money. I'm going to compile a little of the testimonials that have been shared about dividends long forgotten that suddenly were recovered just by being a part of this live session or being a part of our club and following instructions. People have joined and eventually didn't even know that they had stocks that their parents bought for them, or didn't know that their parents actually bought stocks by just searching on the SEC portal for unclaimed dividend. They found their way, and of course, alerts were dropping. Somebody called us that her father-in-law, they called from the village that he was receiving alerts left, right, and center because the man was so foresighted in his days while working or something. He invested in stocks of companies and didn't know what was happening to those stocks again until his daughter-in-law, who is a part of this community, eventually put them through and then followed the process, found that he had some unclaimed dividends, and boom, things started happening. Yes, so send me a DM, anyone who needs to open their stock brokerage account or needs to join our Network Investors Club so that outside the 2 hours we spend here on daily basis, Monday to Friday, even on weekends, you can actually continue to follow market developments in the group. We are on Discord, so I'm going to type my my Instagram handle where you can be sure to get quick response to all your inquiries. Search me on Instagram. That's the Instagram handle there at Wealth Coach Omiete. Follow me, send me a DM, and I will give you all of the links that you need. Link to open your brokerage account, link to join Network Investors Club. So just in case you wake up one day and this TikTok channel or Instagram channel or Instagram handle is no more existing, you still have where to connect with me via our Discord app, because that one they can't take away. Of course, YouTube is also there. So follow me on all social media handles because you don't know what can happen. But you guess what? I will continue doing this. Like I said before, this is my second TikTok handle. As for my Instagram, it was actually banned last Saturday, but in a couple of hours, I appealed and it was restored. So you could have come this morning and checked and can't find my Instagram handle again. You know, so let's get going. Ladies and gentlemen, we go on to one other news I told you I was going to tell you about, and that's talking about none other than Femi Otedola. We were here many months back, or many weeks back, not months, many weeks back, and I kept saying, with what I'm seeing in First Bank, the reorganization and everything, that stock is going to fly. Femi Otedola is taking full control and doing all the necessary things to block loopholes. There were a lot that has happened, but get what? As we speak right now, Femi Otedola is about taking even a stronger position in the bank. That's because the one who he has been in a boardroom tussle with to take control of the bank is about to divest from the business. That will mean him taking more stakes in the bank. And while I was saying, listen, First Bank is a 30 Naira stock, while it was still at 24, guess what we have today? First Bank is at 29 Naira per share, and continues to climb. Currently 29.70. He said in their annual general meeting that he did not spend over 300 billion to be receiving 60 kobo per share dividend. And that conforms with what I already said before, that First Bank will eventually improve their dividend payout. And once they do, we are talking about 40 naira per share. So before our very eyes, it is playing out right now. It's all over the news already that he is going to be taking more stakes in the bank. And the more that happens, the better the prospects of paying greater dividends. And once that is the case, then you have a chance that First Bank will be heading to 40, especially with Zenith now climbing above 50. Yeah? Coach, what's dividends for NIDF? Dividend is always above 5 naira per quarter, meaning over 20 naira for the full year dividend, because they pay dividend 4 times. So they pay 5 naira something every 3 months. So for us who are long-term shareholders of NIDF, we will continue to enjoy it. We are waiting to collect another one next month. So we can look for where else to throw in the dividend. Tau Medics says, please help. God bless you. What was your comment? Coach, I sent you a DM about my sister's share through a third broker. Her name is Juliana. Well, I attended to this the last time. What's the matter again this time? Coach, is Aradel and FTN Cocoa a good buy for long term? Say 2 years. Adeti. Aradel, Shaw Banker, FTN Cocoa, because of the prospects in the agri sector. Yes. Mobile videographer in Port Harcourt. Good day, sir. Please, for someone that has $2,000 in First Bank account, what is the best way to go? This would need further back and forth discussions. If you can call in. If not, DM me on Instagram. Let's be sure what you are doing, because it's looking like the 2,000 USD in the bank is actually a savings. And it's important to know exactly. Now, this is what I'll find out from you. Just follow me on Instagram, send me a DM, and resend this request so I can remember. We need to know what you are doing to earn money. We need to know whether you are relying on this for anything else that you want to use it for in the medium to short term. Then we also need to know if you can do without it, and then decide what best, because leaving it in a savings account is the worst thing to do right now. If you really need it completely in $2K when you want it urgently, then the best thing would be to put it in a Euro bond. Euro bond is in USD. It will earn you more money than savings account interest may be earning you at the moment. Or you could also, if you have sufficient time for it, if you don't need it too soon, or you want to grow it in the fastest way, then I will advise you change it to Naira and find a way to let it work harder for you, all right? And then from time to time, as it does that, you may want to now rebuy USD and restock, just to have the feeling that, okay, the money has gone to work and has brought back the capital 2K over time. However, you look at it, we would work out the best for you. Yeah, I know, that's what they do. It says it's in FBN dollar account, and they are telling me to do fixed deposit, but I have doubts. Yeah, like I said, instead of fixed deposit, it will earn you more money in Euro bond. Okay, what you will do, find out from them, ask them, throw back the question to them. Do they do Euro bond? What percentage per annum is their Euro bond offered? Yeah? All right, sir, what stock can you recommend within a month? I have no idea what to tell you to buy within a month. Nobody can time the market. This is me being honest, plain, and truthful to you. But if you like, you may want to watch out for a stock like Fitz. Still has some momentum, but there could be pullbacks. And because nobody's in control of all the people playing in the market, you can't say what happens within a month. You can only project, and then hopefully it turns out good for you. That's why I discourage short-term investments, because even the shortest possible investment in treasury bills has a maximum 365 days tenor. I haven't seen anything that looks like a 1 month investment plan. Please, what stock can you recommend now? 200K I have. If you have 200K and you know you have time for that money to stay in the market, buy QTIX with it. Coach, is First Bank a good buy? Also, at what price? First Bank continues to be a very good buy, but maybe 27, no longer 24. Currently, it's at 29 though. So you may want to expect okay, Dr. Abisoye says, Coach, most Eurobond always asks for 10,000 USD. Well, some banks can still bend. You know, when you are big, you are big. That's how they used to ask for 1 million for savings account before now. In those days when Zenith Bank opened and GT Bank, if you didn't have 1 million, and then 1 million was a big deal. If you didn't have 1 million, you couldn't bank with Zenith and GT. But now they collect everything. So there still could be banks that can offer you Euro bonds for less than $10,000. Coach, is the current market price of Presco still a good entry price? Willing edge? Well, Presco is so valuable, it's about to hit 1,000. So if you see at 940, that's a good price because you can't see it anything less than that. That's because Presco is so valuable and continues to create value. Presco has a rubber plant in Calabar, even though Presco is predominantly known for oil palm business in, is it Benin City? I think it's in Benin or Delta, right? Presco has opened business in Ghana where they carried out an acquisition of an existing company over there, meaning Presco has set themselves up perfectly to earn US dollars. So, ball is in your court. If you are not following me, you are losing money. If you think I'm joking, find out from those who have been a part of this for the past 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Which stock should I invest in today or tomorrow? Kingsley Ahuchaugu. Which stock? Well, I've mentioned quite a number. UACN still looks good at the price. Don't forget Cadbury. If you see it at 36.37, it should be climbing above that anytime soon. Let's see what Cadbury is doing right now. And then, of course, Cadbury is now 38.70. Interesting. Over 400,000 shares sold already. Okay, interesting. Champs is at 226. Okay, Champs is okay. There's 10 million bids versus 7 million offers at the moment. So Champs can actually be bought at 226 or 2 naira 26 kobo or 2 naira 25 possibly. All right. Oh, Maobi said he increased his stake in First Holdco seriously. Thank you very much. Coach, please flash some light on these shares. What shares? Valentina. Deep cap is not profitable. Stay safe. FTN Cocoa, I've said a lot about it. In the first few minutes of today's live session, you will see some of the fundamental details of that company. It's good. I am now looking at 30 to get in because it rose very quickly from 27 to 33 or so it is now. And I expect a little pullback before it continues, but there is strong prospects in FTN Cocoa. Oseni Hendricks First Bank is still a very good buy. Just pray that you can get it less than 29. Otherwise, take position in 29 and stay long term. That's it. Anybody has challenges with what they have to do with okay, VOO is supplying us update, FGN domestic USD bond. You know, FGN bond, 9.75% per annum with a minimum of $5,000. Yes. And then some banks actually have their own Euro bond that they offer as well, apart from the FGN bonds. So maybe it could be lower with some banks. For 5,000, it's also good. Coach, do you think Okomo can do numbers like Presco? Okomo is trying a lot, but Presco is just too hot to handle. That's the truth. Okomo has very good numbers, but side by side with Presco, it's not going to be easy. This Okomo used to be more expensive than Presco. Presco is a baby where Okomo is. It's almost like comparing a 25-year-old girl to a 45-year-old lady. That's the case with Presco and Okomo right now. Presco has all the freshness and prospects, all the sophistication to do a whole lot, to achieve a whole lot, while Okomo is practically making progress based on its old dominance in the market before now. And the difference is beginning to show already. Market capitalization of Okomo, 620 billion. Maybe I should compare both of them for you to see, but be assured of this thing. This one thing you need to be assured of. In spite of the fact that Presco has great prospects to continue to advance, Okomo will keep playing along with it. How do I mean? There's something called sympathy play in the stock market business. When Presco continues to get out of hand in terms of being too expensive, then you find everybody else turning their attention to Okomo. Now let's do a little bit of comparative analysis between the two. Market capitalization for Okomo is 620 billion. That is what the market currently values the entire company. Presco is 940 billion. And market capitalization is simply based on number of shares existing, that is outstanding shares times the current market price. It also tells you how much confidence the market has over a company. That's why you will notice that institutional investors do not easily invest in penny stocks because of safety. So they go for the expensive ones that has the confidence of the market. It's one key fundamental principle operated by hedge fund managers and institutional investors. Revenue. Okomo generated 145 billion naira revenue in 2024. Presco generated 258 billion. You see that? The difference is beginning to show. Like I said, it's like keeping a 25-year-old girl, an athlete, on a 100 meters race or 400 meters race, side by side with a 45-year-old. The 25-year-old will disappear the moment they tell them to go. Net income of Okomu, 46 billion naira. Net income of Presco, 99.59 billion, more than double what Okomu is doing. Shares outstanding. Okomu has less, which is to their advantage, but very slightly. 953 million shares versus 1 billion shares that Presco has. Now, earnings per share, that's where the crux of the matter is by the time you do all the separations. Okomu has 48 naira 87 kobo earnings per share. Presco has 99 naira 59 kobo. So Presco is earning almost 100 naira per share. Earnings per share. And we're talking about earnings per share is gotten from the profit after tax divided into the number of shares, divided by the number of shares existing. So they are making almost 100 naira per share, where Okomu is making 48 naira per share. You get the point now? And then the PE ratio now tells you which is cheaper on the surface. PE ratio for Okomu is 13 naira 30 kobo. 13.3x. PE ratio for Presco is 9.44x. When you are comparing companies, the PE ratio, the lower, the cheaper the stock. That's what it means. The PE ratio is gotten from the price divided by the earnings per share. Yes? So you can see, amongst both of them, the most valuable is Presco, even though Presco is at 940, while Okomu is at 650 naira per share. So a lot of times, this is why you don't decide on what to buy based on the share price. At current price, and this comparison is very much valid and standard because they both play in the same sector, the agri sector. They do the same thing, oil palm business. But Presco has found a way to really diversify into generating more revenue and therefore more income. So get the point. Once Presco hits 1,000 plus, Okomu will start driving towards 700. It's standard. But in the actual sense, when you get to the bottom of the matter, Presco is a better buy than Okomu. So buy Presco at 940 and just look away because it doesn't look like it will be going below that 900 mark. Coach, is Guinea Insurance a good buy for long term, like 5 to 10 years? I wish to buy large and forget it there. Benjamin Bolaji, don't forget your stocks anywhere. That's why we have quarterly results announced so that you can know the state and the health of the companies you are investing in so you can decide from there. Coach, is Dangote Cement a good buy? What do you think about the stock? Dangote Cement is a solid stock. Go ahead and buy. Don't forget, it is this same Dangote Cement last year or the year before that Femi Otodola bought into, driving the price up to 750 naira per share. A time will come, it will rediscover that share price. Obia Julu Emmanuel says, Coach, Presco and NACO, which is good, but with 500K for short term. Well, 500K will not fetch you much press score, so you go for NACO. Sydney Ebuka says, Coach, can this comparison be done between Sky Aviation and NACO? Well, that's very possible. We still have 28 minutes in today's session. Let's see what happens. Sky Aviation versus NACO. Sky Aviation versus NACO is like Okomo versus Presco, honestly, because NACO is far, far away compared to Sky. But we'll see it without second guessing. Let's go ahead and focus on the real deal. So here we go. Sky Aviation Handling Company is currently at 58 Naira per share, while NACO is at 79 or 80 Naira per share. Well, the market capitalization for Sky Aviation, 79 billion Naira versus 157 billion Naira for NACO. I told you it's similar to comparing Okomo and Presco. You will see the difference. Revenue of Sky Aviation, 33.5 billion Naira. Revenue for NACO, 62.6 billion Naira. Net income, 7.5 billion for Sky Aviation. Net income, 15.5 billion. It's always double. Shares outstanding, 1.35 billion shares. Shares outstanding, 1.95 billion for NACO. Then we go on to earnings per share, 5 Naira 54 kobo for Sky Aviation, 8 Naira for NACO. Then the P ratio, the P ratio of Sky is looking good, 10.54x. P ratio for NACO, 10.1. So NACO's P ratio is still less. Then the difference is in the dividend. While Sky Aviation paid 60 kobo dividend, NACO paid 5 Naira 94 kobo dividend. So that justifies the gap between NACO and Sky Aviation. Coach, is Charms a good buy at 2 Naira 27 kobo? Now I guess you are looking from an app, because Charms you can actually buy at 225 or 224, something like that. Please, how much is UBA shares currently? We saw UBA at 38, right? UBA was at 38. Let's see what it is now, if anything has changed. Oh my goodness, what happened to UBA? Suddenly dropped to 36.55. Wow. Somebody has forced down the price. It was at 38, dropped to 36 now. Also, you mentioned that Dangote Cement and Anadolu are good stocks to buy, but which is better? Now, you cannot compare two companies from different sectors. You will be mistaken. The fact remains that both stocks are solid and good to go, performing very well in their respective sectors. Chomilicious, hello to you. Mo, is MTN a good buy? Well, MTN has gone too high from what we saw. The relative strength index is showing 80-something, almost 100. And relative strength index of over 70 means it's overbought, meaning there is a chance for a reversal of the price. It could just drop below 300 again before it gathers more steam to shoot back above, or may never drop below 300, but there is a little chance for a slight pullback. My wife's account with Atlas is yet to be opened, more than 2 weeks. Name Una Ruth Onyeche. Atlas Portfolios is in the building. I guess you can be able to attend to this. All right. I'd like you to know that the floor is open for questions. You can call in and let's talk. I have my in-house admins. Rehoboth is in the building. I will advise Rehoboth to attach a username instead of the number, so for easy identification. You are one resource person that we have not tapped into what you carry. So Rehoboth, I advise that you rename your TikTok handle instead of the number, the digits they gave you, so we can be able to identify you and relate and refer to you easily. Please advise on Dangote Sugar and Nascon, Babatunde Salako. Well, Dangote Sugar and Nascon, there are two names I have been singing for a long time, and they seem to have gone up. Nascon now 40 naira. I mean, Dangote Sugar now 40 naira. I used to advise below 40, around 36, 37. And it stayed quite long at that price. But looks like let's see how much it is now. Dangote Sugar, 40 naira at the moment. Yes, on Thursday it closed at 39, but could still be bought at 39. Bid and offer, 1.7 million bids versus 1.2 million offers. So not too much of a difference. Please, good afternoon, Coach. If someone buys an IDF this month, will he qualify for the next dividend? Yes. Clinton, if you buy an IDF stock this very month of June, the dividend they'll pay next month, you will qualify. Thank you very much, JD Foods. Really appreciate you for the gifts there. So that's where we are. You have a problem you want Atlas to look into, feel free to call in. The time is now. Coach, what is your opinion on Julius Berger? Yes, that's one stock I really wanted to take another look at, considering how battered the stock price has been most recently. Expectations of the market is much higher than what they performed in terms of dividend payout, but they're not doing too badly. One problem I have with Julius Berger myself is the ineffective utilization of resources. They have very serious turnover, but they don't make too much profit out of it. For instance, this was Julius Berger that sold as high as 172 naira when it hit the highest mark last year, sometime last year. Currently, it's down to 117, but sometimes it could be a good sign. Julius Berger generated revenues of 636 billion. 636 billion naira revenue. But guess what? Net income was just 9 billion. How do you make, it's almost like making 600,000 naira and after removing taxes, overhead costs, salaries, and what have you, what you have left as net income is 9,000 naira. From 600,000, you make only 9,000 naira. I don't understand. So 636 billion was the revenue, but all they came back with as net income was 9 billion. Now, what saved them is that they have just 1.6 billion shares. So by the time you distribute that 9 billion naira into the 1.6 billion shares, you have something like 5 naira 62 kobo earnings per share. But you know what? The PE ratio now shows that it's not cheap because it's at 21.07x. Omo Animashao says Julius Berger paid dividend of 3 naira 25 kobo per share. Yes. Out of the earnings per share of 5 naira 62 is what it was where they paid the 3 naira something per share as dividend. So they retained about 2 naira or something like that from their earnings per share. Okay? So the dividend represents just 2.74% dividend yield, which is not too impressive. Now, where you and I can profit from is to keep an eye on Julius Berger, just in case it drops lower. Because I'm looking at the RSI now. RSI is showing 1.51. That's terribly low. What that is saying is the stock price is most likely approaching or at its bottom. RSI less than 30 is already oversold, meaning it may not have too much to drop below what it is now. All right? So if we are fortunate it drops below 100 naira, that would be a fantastic buy, because they just need to improve their dividend payout and the stock price may jump. So watch what happens to the price. Yeah? So you can be able to take position. Anything under 100 naira, currently it's 118, 117 per share. We're talking about Julius Berger now. Anything under 100 naira is going to be a good buy. Okay? In any case, they really, really need to know how to manage resources, because out of 636 billion, getting 9 billion is not, something is wrong somewhere. And this is why we want efficiency in the management of funds. Good afternoon, Coach. Which app is best for stock investment? No app. I don't use app. I use web portal of Atlas Portfolios, and you can use whatever you use to browse to invest. Your phone, your handheld devices, your laptop, and what have you. Coach, good afternoon. Is Stanbic still a goal, seeing as you believe it will still get to 100 naira? Well, I think that the question should be, why do you insist on buying Stanbic now? Because everybody's concern should be how to make the most of the capital they are bringing into the market. And at that point, there should be no bias as to what company to buy. So look for the best companies and put your money in and let it grow, because now, Stanbic IBTC, like I tweeted earlier before the live session, I made a tweet on Twitter and reposted on Instagram that Stanbic IBTC is on the road to become the first Nigerian bank to hit 100 naira per share. GT Bank is chasing along at 71, while Stanbic is at 79 as we speak. If you buy Stanbic at 79 now, for you to hit 100% profit, you will have to be alive to see Stanbic do double the 79. Double 79 is how much? Over 150 naira per share. Will it ever get there so quickly? That's the problem. Now, whereas, and that's when your money doubles, whereas somebody bought a stock like TIP, 1 naira 90 kobo, November. As we speak, it's 6 naira. That's double it how many times? So assume the average price is 2 naira, the person eventually ended up buying at 1 naira 90 kobo November. From 2 naira to 4 naira is double. From 4 naira to 6 naira is another double. So over 200% gained. And surely you can't get that from a stock like Stanbic. Though you have the stability that Stanbic brings that you can't find in penny stocks. So many other people who invested much earlier in Stanbic, when Stanbic was 15 naira per share and 20 naira per share, we all saw it at 20 naira, 25 naira, and we're thinking it's too expensive. Well, it continues to prove to us that we're not ready to invest. So it's up to you to decide. If you are managing institutional funds, then at at 70, it's a good buy because safety of capital means that you buy strong growth stocks. And you are not nobody is expecting you at that point to double the money over a very short period. All they want is safety, number one, and then regular returns on the investment. So if I'm managing a fund of, say, 500 million or 5 billion, I won't go and pack the whole 5 billion and put in tip, right? We will look for the strongest growth companies to put them, and just a little percentage will now be allocated to the riskier assets that have rapid capital gains prospects. Well, let me not give you details of what I do for organizations. It's not for you here. Good afternoon, Coach. Which foreign stock is good to buy now? Well. When it comes to foreign stocks, I use this holiday period to do a lot of research, and I came out with quite some interesting stuffs. The question is it for this gathering? You will soon find out. We'll look at that later. Whoa, how did you get 35 naira 50? I just bought 37 naira 90 kobo as well. Louisa, okay. Perhaps you are referring to a discussion you've been having along the line. Coach, your analysis on financial statement is great. You just remind me of my undergraduate days. Salvation Boutique, really? You know, those days, and that's my problem. That's my problem with lecturers and the academic environment. You just learn everything theory. Nobody knows what they're talking about. So you start cramming things. No way to use it to your practical advantage. It becomes very boring, honestly. So if somebody is here listening to me and remembers some of the things we used to struggle with in school, don't feel that you didn't understand it that time because you are dumb. You are not. There is no practical to show us. So they just come and quote this and that and go away. But guess what? When it now came to where it matters most for me, who knows that I will make money from this if I understand it, then I go all in and get the knowledge. And that's what we're doing right now. Where it will benefit me and those who follow me financially and growing their money, then I get down to understand it and explain for us to enjoy. Yeah? So that's very correct. It's just like one tweet I made. I said, even if you don't understand compound interest formula, those days when they were teaching us compound interest, you understand? Compound interest, do this, do that, times 100, times annual interest, blah, blah, blah. Even if you don't understand, you didn't understand compound interest in your basic mathematics, then remember, just by simply collecting profits from your stock and rebuying another stock, or taking dividends that they've paid you to reinvest in a stock, you are compounding already. I think that is a much more successful person in the subject of compound interest than the one who understood it more than you while you were in school, but is not using it to do nothing for himself today. Do you get the point now? So we are here making practical use of those things we didn't understand when they were teaching to get richer. That's what we are doing. So to compound simply means that money working for you is now being reinvested. Whatever it brings is being reinvested to keep growing what you have dumped there. So first off, that you may not have the job you were doing before you did the first investment does not matter anymore, because what you have put in continues to yield. Second, the village people who makes people poor from your own village can never stop you from being rich anymore, because the money you are compounding just continues to grow. To make you poor, they will need to go and destroy UBA, the whole branches of UBA, and ground the whole UBA business. Right? That is if only UBA, you invested only in UBA. So imagine you invested in MTN, UBA, Aradel, Julius Berger, all those companies all over the place. They will need to go and crush all those businesses before they can affect your investment. Ogunyomi Modupe says, I understand compound interest now. Oh, well, it's sweeter also when you understand it and it's making you money. Okay? So I am in your life to challenge all the village people that has been impoverishing people and claiming that they have powers. They should come and show their powers regarding your investment in these companies. When you invest in Tesla, at that time we were buying Tesla at 220 something, 240 something dollar per share, right? They should go and meet Elon Musk and kill him. Then go to China, where Tesla has the manufacturing plants, destroy it, and make sure Tesla is no longer in business. Then they can be able to affect you. But as long as they cannot, listen, your prosperity and your wealth, your road to financial freedom is incontestable. All you need is just a little time from now. Finish. That's it. Cisimero says, any thoughts on tantalizers? Well, tantalizers needs time. There are some categories or stocks that really needs time. I need to know what they are doing. After the hype about a new company taking over and a new set of investors taking over and deciding that they're going to diversify, that's what tantalizers owners are now saying, that they are diversifying into entertainment beyond just being a restaurant. So we are waiting for feedbacks on what the results are. After the hype, and we don't buy hypes here, right? So after the hype, we will get to hear what is really happening on black and white. I want to see the statement because there are too many companies performing fantastically well, right? Okay, so let me quickly see on to some of the U.S. stocks I was looking at. Some of them I mentioned earlier are still workable, still very workable, and it will be good to really take another look at them. ACMR jumped back to $25 yesterday. That's a long-term stock. Please stay put in those stocks. ACMR, very good buy at the price it was as at yesterday. I'm trying to call up my watch list now because I did extensive work on foreign stocks over the weekend. You know, it was a long holiday, so it afforded me a lot of time to do a lot of research. I don't know if I have ever told you about NEGG, but let's leave that out. Still trying to fetch my U.S. stock watch list. Just a moment. Experiencing a bit of delays, but time is also not our friend anymore. It's just 4 minutes to go. Coach, what is the best price for UBA and Access Corp, and how is their dividend? UBA pays twice, Access Bank pays twice, so dividend cash flow, good. Access, maybe 22, currently 23. UBA, 36, if not 34. Yeah? Okay, Coach, can we still buy MSTR and Futu? All right, I'll check for you right away. Just a moment. Okay. Just a moment, let's see. Futu. If MSTR is under 400, still a good buy. So a quick one as we try to round off today, MSTR, let's see. Please, by all means, buy MSTR and hold. Okay, I'm experiencing a bit of slowdown in the stock and data connection. MSTR 390, oh, it's getting back to 400 already. 392, it's still a good buy, sir. Please go ahead and buy MSTR. That stock is a 450 naira stock, honestly. Okay. And then Futu. Let's see Futu. Futu, if it's not more than 114. Let's see, 108. Okay. Futu is also okay at 108, if you ask me. All right. MSTR, okay, I've mentioned that. Seplat, you need time. You need time for Seplat. Honestly, time is needed to enjoy Seplat. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, one discovery I made during the weekend is HGBL. Please go in on that stock. As long as it's $2 and below, HGBL. Let's go there. HGBL. Heritage Global Incorporated. HGBL. That's the reveal I have for today. HGBL. I'll give you the updates as time permits me. I have just 1 minute to go. Market capitalization $71 million, revenue $46 million, net income $4.45 million. That's almost 10% net margin. And then shares outstanding is just 35 million. Earnings per share 12 cents. PE ratio 16.93. Price target $4. It's currently at $2 per share. Now, there is a price target by analysts in the U.S. that it can get to $4, and that's about 97% profit margin standing by for anybody who is able to wait long enough. And it's a strong buy recommended by analysts from what I see. HGBL. Small company, but looks well managed and the numbers are making sense. So that's my reveal for the foreign market today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2 p.m. Nigerian time when we wrap up. My apologies if I'm 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 apologies if